Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching our channel for the first time, kindly subscribe. To those who have supported this channel up to where it is, I want to express my deepest gratitude to you. May God bless you. There is one question that still remains unanswered. The drama between the DCI and the New Life International Pastor Ezekiel Odero is one saga that its answer has continued to be very elusive, because it all started that the man who was being hunted was and still is Mackenzie. You all know about the Shakahola. And then all of a sudden there was a U-turn and a very unique twist, that the person who carried the burden on his shoulders is not Mackenzie now, but the New Life International Church pastor Ezekiel Odero. And in the latest move, the DCI moved to court, and Ezekiel's bank accounts were frozen. And I understand that one of the charges, or one of the suspicions that the DCI has against the pastor, is money laundering. This is because Ezekiel is constructing a complex in Kilifi or Mombasa, and then he's got some huge bank accounts. So Ezekiel has been battling this in court. He moved to court for legal redress, and one of the things that he sought to be granted was that he wanted to withdraw up to 50 million shillings from the frozen accounts, because he claims that he's got church workers, and then of course there is a school that is operational and all the other institutions, and the pastor is saying that the operations are stalled courtesy of the frozen account. So he moved to court to be allowed to withdraw a certain amount. There were other prayers, and the DCI had preliminary objection about some of the prayers. Lawyer Dunstan Omari won the first round of their prayers, because today it was ruled by Magistrate Ben Mark Ikubi that the detention, because the DCI was saying that they want to detain the pastor for like 30 days. They wanted to freeze these accounts for 30 days as they do their own investigation to come to the rock bottom of the matter. But Pastor Ezekiel is saying that he wanted this detention period, or this period, to be reduced to at least 14 days, and this was granted. I want to agree with him on one condition. You know, matters religion really elicit a lot of feelings and very, very emotive, because there are people who have received some help, whether spiritual, financial, emotional, from New Life International Church. Ezekiel commands a big following. The other day he went to Maximum Miracle Center, and that place was impassable. People just love him. And of course many have accused the government of mischief. And so it's very emotional to start either defending or trying to accuse. We can't point accusing finger to Ezekiel. But matters law really come in handy, because I am not a lawyer, but I understand that justice delayed is justice denied. Ezekiel is a Kenyan who's got his fundamental rights. And in as much as the government has got every right to hold him suspect, justice must really move fast. If there are investigations that are supposed to take place, then this must be done as fast as possible to allow him go on with his businesses. But back to how it started. The government is being accused because they are reacting to a matter that they should have averted. We have the DCI and the investigative mechanisms. How someone slept on the job only to wake up after some villagers acted as whistleblowers and lives had been lost. It was like a massacre. In fact, that is what the headlines say, the Shakahola massacre. How they slept on the job. Officers who are being paid by taxpayers' money and allowed more than 200 people to die and be buried secretly is something that I think Kenyans must rise up to demand answers. In fact, if we were in the developed world, someone or some people should have resigned and taken responsibility. But because this is Kenya, two things will happen. Either blame game or some sacrificial lambs. Even as we speak, they have transferred certain officers and they say that they're doing this to allow investigations. I'm one person who believes that Pastor Ezekiel is being accused to sanitize Mackenzie. They have decided to narrow in and try to unify these cases. So they are trying to ensure that the matters are joined together because they know that by the time one will be found free, even the one that seems to be culpable will also be vindicated. And I believe that this is the reason why they have decided to narrow in on Ezekiel, because I no longer hear about Mackenzie anymore. So by the time Pastor Ezekiel will be vindicated, I believe that Mackenzie will also be vindicated. And that's why we no longer hear about Mackenzie anymore. The person who is grabbing headlines is Ezekiel himself. And so I think Pastor Ezekiel is a happy man because at least the investigation period has been reduced from 30 days to 14 days. At least that is better now. They should move in very fast. And the DCI had sought to dismiss this application and the magistrate has allowed because he didn't want Ezekiel to apply for the temporary reprieve. So on Monday they will meet again when the judge will rule on whether Ezekiel will be allowed to withdraw about 50 million Kenya shillings. Watu wako na pesa bana. Sisi tunalia hapa, wengine wanasema 50, that is the least he's talking about. And so I believe he will be given that again because he says that employees cannot be paid. The institutions are almost stalling. And one thing I know, the best they can do is maybe take his passport so that he cannot move out of the country. And Ezekiel has said that he is ready to cooperate. So I don't see the need of frustrating him. It is very unnecessary. But I want to finish by saying this. We will continue to hear dirty news of men of God who are taking advantage of the unsuspecting Kenyans because we have misused religion. It started all the way from last year when the Kenya Kwanza team was campaigning and they misused the church. I have always indicated on this channel that in some churches we had portraits of William Samoei Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. Up to date, we are still told that this government came from God. Rigathi Gachagua continues to say that their victory was given by God. And I know by now you will understand that our deputy president lives with the Reverend Dorcas. And William Ruto, of course, has got a church. So we are being led by a duo that say that they are men of God. And when the rot starts from the most coveted land, as I've always indicated. When it starts, when you can trace this road from State House, then everyone will have the leeway to misuse the church. When we have been advised by the meteorological department that rains are about to come, we call people for prayers in Nyaya and we tell them that rains are coming because we have prayed. I mean, we have misused the church. We quote wrong Bible verses to justify what we want to do. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, I can assure you, and I want to submit to you, that you can only be as good as your king. When the king is inadequate in his stature, then even the subjects will be inadequate. And so, if this has to stop, then it has to stop from State House. Number two, we must review our constitution. I understand that there is freedom of worship. And in fact, the article that deals with freedom of worship indicates that it is also freedom of conscience, that you decide which church or which religion you want to join, and the government does not interfere. But don't you think it is time that we interfere? Because which one is better? You sit down, sit back and watch as people get massacred in the name of freedom of worship, or you can jump in and review the policies that guide our religion. I think the latter is the answer. We should look at our religion and the article that deals with it to have some checks and balances if Kenya has to move forward. And the last one, ladies and gentlemen, officers who went on sabbatical leave, who did not find this on time, must be brought to book. Because one thing I have realized that is happening here is that many times we let culprits go scot-free. The officers that slept on the job must be brought to book so that they can wakaze kamba kidogo. We don't want a situation where we have officers who are paid by taxpayers' money. They are busy following Azimio. If you see the way they were chasing people on the Azimio demonstrations, you are shocked that while they were doing this, someone was busy killing people in Kilifi. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let me just say this. Let the law take its course. If Ezekiel will be found culpable, the law will deal with it. But let the investigation be done in clean hands so that we don't have some political machinations. I don't know what you think, but that is my take.